Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Wednesday video with us, the British Fist! Ka-ching! You notice how I did that like Chrissy Hem?
Yeah, I thought you was her, actually.
I wish. But anyway, make sure you guys subscribe up above, like this video and get your thoughts on this topical video down below.
And as you may see, there's many links in the description box below. Contact us.
Very pretty links, aren't they? There's Twitter, there's Skype. No, there is Skype. There's our YouTube accounts. God, there's so many links down there, isn't there? I'm Mr. Parkin, though. You know me. But you don't. You may know this guy as the Right and Honourable NJ.
What's up?
What's up, indeed, NJ? Right. So today we're going to be talking about the Bound for Glory series tournament. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving our thoughts on it. We're going to be giving, good points that we think, bad points, and then we're going to be giving our overall thoughts on this series as a whole, seeing as it is now finished, leading into Bound for Glory, where I assume it'll be the main event. And I assume the final will be the main event to become the #1 contender going into the biggest pay-per-view of the year for TNA, which is Bound for Glory.
Very true.
Yep.
And the thing I want to start by saying is when I heard about this tournament, the way they were describing it, how it would go, I thought you're giving importance to your wrestlers. You're giving importance to future TNA events coming up.
Yeah.
It was really nicely done, it sounded like.
I did like the way how they used the tournament. I think tournaments are a great way to feature wrestlers on each show. It's a good excuse to have good matches. And the tournament itself, over a long period of time, really added meaning to this #1 contendership, which is really what a #1 contendership needs for the main event title in the company.
Very true. And I'm thinking the way they had this, they had all these matches lined up.
Yep.
This was placing this wrestler, and it definitely got us. Because sometimes they pre-announce matches before the next event. It definitely got us wanted to see that Bound for Glory series match.
Yeah, and also it started off very early, so it meant that the Bound for Glory series could be built over time, which is one thing I like about it. Like I said, it's all about adding meaning to a #1 contendership, and I think TNA really started off doing this very well. They featured it every week, 2 or 3 times. They mentioned the Bound for Glory series tournament every week. They had the table going, although it wasn't quite as hyped up as I would have liked. It was still pretty well done in the fact that it was done every week, and even done at pay-per-views. We even had pay-per-view matches out of it, which I thought was good.
Well, 2 things like this. Like, yes, they gave us great matches leading up to pay-per-views, but sometimes we would talk about this.
Not enough time.
At the pay-per-view, sometimes it kind of dragged. It weren't needed at the pay-per-view. But we were talking about the back at the last one. There was like Pope versus Diva. Or
oh God, fuck that.
And we just thought weren't really good for pay-per-view. But other than that. Yeah, it's definitely done good for these last couple of weeks we've had.
You cannot argue, though, with Crimson and RVD being a great match until Joey Lynn into fucking feared. But yeah, I love the fact that we saw like different wrestlers go up against each other, which I actually wanted to see. I wanted to see matches like AJ Styles versus Gunner. I really wanted to see matches like Matt Morgan versus AJ Styles, Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles. Matches like that I really wanted to
see AJ versus Devon.
Oh, and who fucking won that one, eh? What, Devon? The guy who really should not really be in this tournament, which is one thing I didn't like about it. But we're sticking to the positive at the moment. Seeing different wrestlers go at each other again every week, and that giving them an excuse to be able to put on wrestling, seeing as it is Impact Wrestling, was a very good thing about the tournament in our opinion. The feeling of importance was always there.
The wrestling was there every week because we knew we were going to get matches every week. That the tournament was special for this whole TNA thing, and it was just nicely done.
I loved how this tournament, it was kind of good, did well promoting the younger guys. You had guys like Crimson, Bobby Roode, James Storm, guys that, well, not necessarily younger guys, but guys that hadn't really been featured in the main event before. And as we see from the Final Four, we have a couple of guys in there that have never really been in the main event. So it's good in the sense that it's giving us some new stars in that main event division.
That's very true, because we've had the X Division that did perfectly doing new stars, and this was another chance for new stars to get up into the main event scene, which I think at the end it sort of did.
Yeah, it's got 4 people in a #1 contendership match, which we really want at a pay-per-view, and it's going to be the main event. And one of these guys, I think, Bobby Roode, is going to win it, and he's probably going to win the title at Bound for Glory, which is why I think this tournament was designed, to get over that young guy against Angle at the biggest pay-per-view there and create a new star in a guy like Bobby Roode, or maybe even James Storm, maybe even Gunner. Who knows?
We'll have to see where we get to that. Yeah.
But with that comes bad points, because although it did a great job promoting younger guys, for me, I think there could have been better people in the Final Four. I look at that Final Four, Bully Ray, Gunner, Robert Roode, James Storm, and I don't think to myself, that's main event quality Final Four. I really think the addition of AJ Styles, Matt Morgan, or Samoa Joe could have really added a bit more credibility to this Final Four. And although I like the fact that it's making new guys, I really think you could have put a new guy in there and really put him over a lot better using guys like AJ Styles and Matt Morgan. That's the one issue. That's the one big issue I have with this tournament and the Final Four.
My counter to that is, over the last couple of weeks that we've had, they've had it become really obvious when the matches were getting screwed and we were having the result of who's going to be in the Final Four. We can see them moving up. We can see people moving down. The Final Four was kind of obvious by the end.
Yeah, and we had we thought Crimson was going to win it, but in the end he got an injury. I think that was done to preserve his undefeated streak, because they didn't really want him to win it.
And that's another bad point. The amount of injuries. By the end, there was about 3-4 people that were injured.
Samoa Joe, he's good at hurting people.
And it really took people down. People that we thought they could possibly be into the Final Four. Yeah, and I just thought, you've injured them, so that's moved them down, and I don't know, I just thought it was a bad point.
One thing I find funny about this is, even though this tournament is about the main event of TNA, it all comes down at the end to Fortune versus Immortal. Bully Ray and Gunner versus Robert Roode and James Storm, which is kind of like, it makes me laugh because it makes me realise that TNA's incessant desire to keep putting these factions down our throats is kind of affecting the main event scene. I mean, last year at No Surrender, you had a tournament with Mr. Anderson, Jeff Hardy, Kurt Angle, the Pope, 4 very good guys who could easily be in the main event. And this year, it just seems really underwhelming when you see Bully Ray and Gunner and people like that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the way I see it is that TNA are concentrating on their top dog, shall we say, which is Immortals.
Oh, God.
They're the top dogs. And Robert Roode, I think they're going to be teasing something there. So I'll see why they're in the final.
Oh, yeah, I think Robert Roode's going to win it.
Yeah, so if they break up because of this, then them to be in the finals made sense.
Well, it essentially comes down to what is more important, tag teams or getting that top prize in the company, which is another point I want to pick up upon. For example, we had Pope and Devon. Pope cared more about Devon than he did potentially winning the top prize in the company, and that really doesn't make sense to me. I didn't like how sometimes it became like this bad booking on my part when you had Pope laying down, when you had Pope allowing Devon to get the pin. You're just like, come on, this is the top prize in your company. Go for it, for fuck's sake.
There was a lot of matches that we could complain about that really let us down. Devon AJ, most of Rob Van Dam's matches, we can go on about that. Because, yeah, and it just made me think, you're really, again, I'm going to put a good point.
I know what you're going to say.
Basically, it's at the end now. Yeah. The tournament's over. They need to concentrate on what they're doing next. So I think having these rivalries building up during the tournament has led on to other things happening.
Yeah.
Because if they didn't, basically TNA would be thinking, "Oh, we're screwed now. We've got to make it quickly happen just to get involved."
Because we haven't announced any matches for No Surrender already. Well, the thing is, I do see what you're saying. They do need to make feuds, but I really wish they didn't use this tournament to sort of as a second-rate version of getting new feuds going. Do you know what I mean? Like, you had the whole RVD Jerry Lynn thing, the Devon Pope thing, all that kind of stuff. Really, the Samoa Joe Matt Morgan thing, which really did put a shade on the last match. The match between Gunner and RVD, which was supposed to be, for the last spot on that tournament, and it was supposed to be a really important match, but in the end it turned out that it was more about the rivalry between Jerry Lynn and RVD than Gunner actually getting that win. Do you know what I mean? And that's what really annoyed me about this. Sometimes the booking of it, the overbooking of it sometimes, which is typical Russo, kind of really annoyed me. I don't see why a lot more of the matches really should have ended clean. And use other ways to build rivalries, which don't put a hint on this tournament, which is supposed to be important.
Well, the way I see it is that I think everyone knew by that match who was going to be in the Final Four. Everyone knew it by then. So TNA probably thought, screw it, we'll just get others involved and just make it somewhat exciting.
The smart marks would have known, because they would have known that they're probably going to do a Jerry Lynn RVD rivalry from what happened. But the casual fans wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have known about this. But us smart marks would have known, because we can sort of
put two and two together, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, which is 3. I'm not Booker T, it's 4. Fat Tam! No, I'm only joking. Another point which I do want to pick up on is, we talked about the booking of the tournament. Sometimes a lot of the matches didn't get enough time, apart from the ones at the pay-per-view. And I didn't like the fact that some of the matches really didn't get that much time. I mean, we saw Steiner and Devon get a minute or something, and it really devalued the tournament a lot. A lot of these matches really should have got 6, 7, maybe even up to 10 minutes, in my opinion.
Well, from past experience, from when we started watching TNA, they're bad at booking matches to a good length. Some matches get a good length, but not the important matches. And this Bound for Glory tournament series, you just look at it and think, that match would have been more exciting to see. Yeah, there's matches like, you said, Steiner and that is just a pointless match. I know it's so important, but that match was just stupid. But other matches could have got more time.
Why were those two in it? That's one thing I want to know. Why were Devon and Steiner in it? When are we ever going to see these guys as main eventers? We're not. They're not main event guys. Could they not have put better people in there than Devon and Steiner? That's just one point I want to say. I don't understand why these guys are in there. Why don't you put some other sort of young talent in there that haven't really been tried in the main event yet? I don't understand. It's kind of a bit puzzling to me.
I think this tournament would have been great for Anderson.
Oh yeah, but he was the champion at the time, so they couldn't really put him in.
That's the point.
But if he wasn't the champion, I think he would have been a very big contender to win this tournament.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just that obviously they must have picked these certain wrestlers to be in this tournament for a reason. But again, I just look at him thinking that some of them, as you said, they were pointless.
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to turn around to me and say, "Oh yeah, Devon's there to put guys over," at the beginning he was like second in the series. Not really there to put guys over, is he? I don't know. I didn't like the way that Devon won loads of matches at the start and beat AJ Styles, and then I also didn't like the fact that sort of you got them stepping up this ladder, and I don't feel the Final Four are there because they're the best in the tournament. I feel, in my personal opinion, the Final Four are there because of other events happening or because they've just limped over the line, and it doesn't give me that feel of the best guys are in this tournament. The best guys. We don't have the AJ Styles, the Samoa Joes, the Matt Morgans.
Well, I'm going to kind of agree with you and disagree. I'm going to agree because I think, to be honest, the Final Four, they're not the best wrestlers in the ring, like you've named the list. But at the same time, I'm going to disagree because I'm thinking TNA or whoever the head writers are here.
Vince Russo.
Yeah, they look and say, right, Buddy Ray and Gunner are in the biggest team we've got, being Immortal. And we've got the biggest tag team, which is going to be a big draw for TNA fans.
But they're not main event guys, are they? That's my point. I'm thinking, if you want to put over Robert Roode, what better way to put this guy over than have him beat AJ Styles and have him beat Matt Morgan and have him beat Samoa Joe rather than Bully Ray and Gunner? Do you know what I mean? And I really hate the way it's just gone from Fortune. It's going Fortune versus Immortal, essentially, in the semi-final matches. It just pisses me off.
Well, I would have kind of liked, I know it's too late now because they've got their Final Four and that's it. But if we had like a scramble, let's say Rude, we had let's say one went of Immortal, Buddy Ray, let's say two other random ones.
Morgan and anyone.
Yeah, just some random, four random ones. That would have been interesting because like you're not having like feuds going into that match. You're having random wrestlers. It would have made it more interesting than having like basically a tag team match in this.
Yeah, and I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, but feuds being built outside of this BFG series. Do you know what I mean? That really, really annoyed me in that sense. Like, I really wish that TNA would just put their emphasis on their tournament and leave it that way. And I know that you said earlier we had to combine, we had to make feuds and stuff, and we had to make feuds going into Bound for Glory, but I really can't stand the fact that it came to the extent of this Bound for Glory Series tournament, which is supposed to be one of the most important things at the moment in TNA. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, I do get that. And I'm just saying, the way I'm looking at it now is, it's hard to say this because obviously I think the wrong people are in the final for different reasons. They've made it to this point now. They said that these are the four. We've got the feuds going, so I guess in TNA's eyes, they've done the right thing. Yeah.
One thing I would have done to improve this tournament, let's talk about a couple of improvements now. First of all, I would have given it a better Final Four, that's just me. What I would have done is made the last match a ladder match. I think that would have been a bit more important, because we saw ladder matches and street fights during this BFG series itself. A lot of those street fights were overbooked, and the ladder match we got was very good. I really wish that we'd get a ladder match as the last match with a contract with another one potentially hanging down from it. I thought that would have been a very good way to end it. A very brutal match, and it would have added meaning towards it, I think.
That is one thing, because like maybe the final 4 matches, or the final 3 even, as we're getting at this pay-per-view, there should be stipulation matches. Make them have to earn it, make them think, oh, this is an exciting match, I wonder who's going to win this.
Yeah.
But instead, I think we're just going to get basically just single matches, but it's kind of disappointing. But then the final match, as you said, would be good for like a contract or something like that.
Yeah. Well, now we've gone through good and bad points of the Bound for Glory series, and improvements which we would make, like what we suggested there. What are your overall? Because we're not going to be able to talk about this in detail on our Impact review, which is, by the way, is tomorrow. Make sure to check that out. We're not going to be able to talk about it in too much depth. So why don't we here give our overall thoughts on it, how we went, how we feel it's going to pan out. I'll start off with you first.
First thought of it, I thought great. It's going to do great for the rest that go into it, and the outcome is going to be great for the final 4.
Yeah.
as time went on, I just saw it just basically dissolve to basically predictable. It went to the wrong four. So in a way, I think it started off okay because there was a scramble of like when it first started, you saw random four in the top of the table.
Mm-hmm.
Now at the four, when we're just thinking, oh great. So basically, I'm left with not a positive feeling about it.
Well, I mean, I think that the way it was done was okay up until the point where you had all these injuries going on, and then we finally figured out that our final four would be Bully Ray Gunner, Robert Roode, and James Storm. Until I found out that those were going to be the main four, I was kind of happy with this tournament. Like I said, I hated the incessant way that feuds are built around this tournament sometimes. I know that you've got to build feuds, but as soon as feuds started becoming a focal point of it, I started to become really disillusioned with it. Like the RVD Jerry Lynn stuff, the Pope Devon stuff, really started to piss me off. And it was at that point I kind of thought to myself, wow, this tournament really has less meaning than I originally thought. So, although I feel it's been very well done overall, I just hope to fucking God that this has been designed to put Robert Roode over so he can go face Angle at Banfugori and he can win the title, and that's a new guy in that main event picture. That's the way I hope. That's how I hope this will be done, to God. Because if any of the other three win it, maybe James Storm, if any of the other three win it, I won't be very happy because that way.
The way I look at it, they brought Gunner into the main event.
Yep.
We saw that when I first started watching TNA. Mm-hmm. Buddy Ray, he was getting involved with AJ Styles, showing that he can be a
but
main
not really
event,
a main event, though, was it? I didn't ever see Bully Ray in the main event. He was the lead. I guess he can draw a fact from he was the lead figurehead of Immortal, which is why he's probably in the main event.
Yeah, and I think so. Immortal have somewhat of an okay reason to be going for maybe Angle in the final, but
isn't he with Immortal now? That's the thing.
There's Angle's floating about.
Exactly. So it really makes no sense for Immortal members to go up against each other, does it?
No. So I don't know what they're doing, but I'm going to say Robert Roode.
Yeah, I'm just going to say Robert Roode too. We've got a question on the Facebook page, by the way. Who do you think's going to win? I've got the 4 people there, or we put the 4 people down there. Make sure you pick who you think's going to win, and we'll mention it in our preview video if we end up doing one. If TNA give us some fucking matches. So yeah, I mean that's but can I say one thing, right? You know, I think Beer Money are going to break up here. I think they're the only real logical choices to face Angle at Banfugori, aren't they? I don't see the other two facing, just because Angle, number one, he's a heel, and number two, he's part of Immortal. So I just see Robert Roode winning. I can't see anyone else winning it. And if anyone else wins it, I'll just be like...
And if this does break up Immortal, because Beer Money...
Immortal will never break up.
No, they will not. If Beer Money break up, which somehow they could somehow stay together in this, but let's say if they break up, we lost another tag team, which I don't think TNA can really deal with.
Yeah, but they got to think to themselves, what's more important? Getting 2 main event guys from a tag team, like the Edges, the Jeff Hardys, you know, or is it better to keep them as a tag team? I think at the moment what's more important is getting some new main eventers in that scene, because as we've seen, the main event scene in TNA is very stale.
It's going around Sting,
Anderson, RVD, you know, Angle now, but, you know.
Yeah, it's just floating around short. So I think getting one of these 4, which all Robert Roode in our words, would be a good idea.
Yep, so is that pretty much it, really?
That's it.
Pretty much we said everything that we wanted. Like I said, make sure you check out our Impact review tomorrow. The Go Home show before No Surrender should be interesting. See if they announce any friggin' matches. You got any comments, guys? Any good points, bad points, any improvements, any thoughts on the Banfugori series? Make sure you put them in that comment section below, and we will definitely respond. Me and NJ respond to your comments, so keep those comments coming, guys. And NJ, do you have any last words before we leave from this video?
Well, let's hear your thoughts about the Banfugori series and the final 4 we have.
Oh.
And now this is it from Mr. Parkin.
Yeah.
And me, the N to the J, NJ. What's up?
The N to the J.
That's it.
Nice one, NJ. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and goodbye.